In the resplendent throne room, King Nebuchadnezzar sits, an imposing figure, radiating power. Courtiers and advisors stand in attendance, their expressions a blend of awe and apprehension. With an expansive gesture, King Nebuchadnezzar's voice echoes through the grand hall. "Behold," Nebuchadnezzar proclaims, his voice resonating with unbridled authority. "The power of Nebuchadnezzar," he declares, asserting his dominance over all. "The greatness of my kingdom knows no bounds." Nebuchadnezzar booms, his words filling the hall with pride. His courtiers look on, awestruck by the king's display of power. The vast hall seems to amplify his declaration, emphasizing the grandeur of Nebuchadnezzar's reign. In the heart of his luxurious palace, Nebuchadnezzar rides in his bed, his sleep tormented by dark visions. A disturbing dream etches lines of worry onto Nebuchadnezzar's face. Nebuchadnezzar awakens abruptly, his breath catching in ragged gasps as the weight of the dream lingers. The opulent bedroom offers no comfort, amplifying the king's growing unease. Driven by a looming sense of dread, Nebuchadnezzar summons his wise men. His voice echoes with urgency, demanding answers that can quell his inner turmoil. The wise men offer their interpretations, but their words ring hollow. Their explanations fail to provide solace, leaving Nebuchadnezzar more troubled. The weight of impending divine judgment hangs heavy, casting a pall over the palace. Nebuchadnezzar is left alone with his thoughts, the dream's shadow darkening his heart. In his private chamber, Daniel stands bathed in the soft glow of morning light. Sunlight streams through the window, illuminating the tranquil stillness of the room. He awaits the king's summons, a deep sense of duty weighing upon him. A message arrives. He must interpret the king's haunting dream. Daniel reveals that Nebuchadnezzar will be driven from his kingdom and live as a beast until he acknowledges God's sovereignty. The weight of the prophecy settles heavily in the chamber. The truth unfolds, a stark destiny for the king. Daniel accepts his role, a faithful servant delivering divine truth. 1 year on, Nebuchadnezzar surveys his kingdom from the royal balcony, a picture of supreme satisfaction. He strides confidently along the balcony, basking in the splendor of his kingdom, his chest puffed out with pride. Lost in the immensity of his creation, Nebuchadnezzar's eyes gleam with self-admiration. Nebuchadnezzar pauses, his gaze sweeping across the vast cityscape, each building a testament to his power. A flicker of madness ignites behind Nebuchadnezzar's eyes, a storm brewing beneath the surface. Nebuchadnezzar's expression shifts, a shadow passing over his face as the weight of his power settles upon him. His eyes narrow, reflecting the internal turmoil as the madness takes root. Nebuchadnezzar's posture changes, his body tensing as he succumbs to the encroaching madness. Nebuchadnezzar, now transformed, wanders aimlessly through the desolate wilderness. He drops to all fours, grazing on the sparse grass like a beast. His once regal robes are now tattered rags, clinging to his emaciated frame. His hair, once meticulously styled, is now a wild, matted mane that obscures his face. His fingernails have grown into grotesque claws, digging into the earth as he moves. He pauses, lifting his head to the sky, a primal roar escaping his lips. His eyes, once filled with wisdom and power, now reflect only animalistic hunger and confusion. He resumes his grazing, oblivious to the world around him, lost in his bestial existence. The sun beats down mercilessly on his exposed back, further stripping away his humanity. He scratches at his matted hair, a flicker of his former self surfacing for a fleeting moment. But the moment passes, and he returns to his animalistic state, driven by instinct alone. Nebuchadnezzar continues to eat grass, a broken king reduced to a shadow of his former glory. The throne room, once a symbol of Nebuchadnezzar's power, now lies in disarray. Courtiers gather in hushed groups, their whispers weaving through the air, heavy with uncertainty. Each furtive glance and whispered word hints at the plots and schemes brewing in Nebuchadnezzar's absence. The imposing throne sits empty, a stark reminder of the absent king and the power vacuum that threatens to consume the kingdom. Fear and ambition mingle in the eyes of those who remain, each contemplating their next move in this dangerous game of power. The grand tapestries and ornate decorations do little to mask the underlying tension that permeates the room. The once polished floors are now scuffed and marred, reflecting the kingdom's descent into chaos. Even the sunlight streaming through the windows seems hesitant, casting long, ominous shadows across the room. The air is thick with unspoken anxieties, as the courtiers navigate the treacherous currents of courtly intrigue. Each courtier is a player, in a high-stakes game, where alliances shift, like sand and betrayal, lurks around every corner. The throne room, once a place of regal ceremony, is now a stage for political maneuvering and hidden agendas. The fate of the kingdom hangs in the balance, dependent on the decisions made within these crumbling walls. In the wilderness, Nebuchadnezzar, still in his bestial form, lifts his head toward the sky. 7 years have passed, and a spark of understanding ignites within his wild eyes. The realization of God's power washes over him, changing his bestial expression. Slowly, he begins to lower himself to the ground, his movements reflecting a burgeoning humility. His posture transforms, embodying humility as he submits to the divine presence. The wildness in his eyes fades, replaced by a serene acceptance of his place. Nebuchadnezzar's bestial form softens, now marked by a gentle, humbled spirit. The wilderness watches as the king's transformation completes, his heart now aligned with reverence. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, stands tall and regal before his court, in a throne room glittering with gold and precious stones. He lifts his hands, a newfound understanding shining in his eyes. The courtiers watch him with rapt attention, their faces displaying awe and curiosity. The air hangs heavy with anticipation as Nebuchadnezzar speaks. I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and exalt and glorify the King of Heaven. He continues, his voice resonating through the throne room, because everything he does is right and all his ways are just. Nebuchadnezzar concludes with conviction. Those who walk in pride he is able to humble. A hush falls over the throne room as Nebuchadnezzar finishes speaking. His transformation is complete, replacing arrogance with humility and ignorance with wisdom. The kingdom watches, witnessing the dawn of a new era under a reformed ruler. The throne room, once a symbol of Nebuchadnezzar's pride, now echoes with the promise of justice and humility.